All right, just to recap, this is the KubeVirt community meeting, March 4th, 2020. I always say that at the beginning so that I know which one's which, so just a heads up on that. We already discussed IPv6 support. Petra Horacek did. The PR is on review, and I don't think there's any questions or comments on that. So that may be the last section for the agenda and notes. And if so, moving on to the open floor, we have a note from Alberto Lasada. Apologies that I didn't get back to you yesterday, Alberto, but I'll let you go ahead and raise the issue.
Yeah, we were talking on the Slack channel, but I found that I was installing OKD and I installed KubeVirt on top of it. And then I found that there was some SE Linux errors and that cmanage was not shipped with Fedora CoreOS. Python, it's shipped already, but I think as I could see in the OKD repository, it won't be shipped as well or in the future. So maybe we will have some issues with
well, we will definitely have some issues. I looked at the code after you had brought this up, and I realized that not only in the process of applying types for the virt launcher.process, the default one we apply, we also check for labeling and do some relabeling of files. And that, of course, we're using semanage as well for that. And so there's several different places where we rely on the existence of that binary. I thought that it would have been shipped with virt handler. Am I wrong about that? Because I would have thought it would have been in the container.
I pasted the error, and the error was saying that cmanage was not on the operating system. Once I installed the policy core utils package, everything was working fine again.
On the node itself.
Yeah, on the node. But yeah, it's an immutable operating system, so you have to reboot the server. And probably when you update the operating system, it won't be shipped again. So we will have to reinstall it, I guess. And that's I saw that PR from Roman that he was trying to use, I think, the Go library for SE Linux labeling, and I just wanted to talk here, which is the state of this PR, or if you are trying to apply the SE Linux labels using this library instead of cmanage Python script.
Well, unfortunately, Roman is unwell and unable to join us today, so he can't speak for himself. I don't know the state of that PR per se. You do have a link there, so we can follow that after, or even right now. But I'm still coming back to that. Virt handler is the entity that does the SE manage different activities as a privileged process. But it should have been using its own file system. So I'm really surprised that doing something to the host affected it. So I'm curious about how that played out.
I can open an issue and follow up there in.
Yeah, on GitHub, that'd be great. That would be a perfect way to track this, I think, because it does bear or is important enough that it would be something we should track.
I was running the latest version of KubeVirt, 0.26.1. I think it's the latest.
Yes. Actually, 26.2 is being cooked right now, by the way. I should add a release or an agenda note about that, but we'll have to follow up on that. I'm not quite sure how that happened.
All right. Great.
All right, and I guess next note, I'll turn it over to Pep to talk about the KubeVirt face-to-face gathering.
Yeah, just a quick heads up that, as you know, we are trying to organize a KubeVirt gathering around KubeCon Europe in Amsterdam. For this year, we were planning to use facilities that were rented for the OpenShift Commons gathering, one of the day zero events around KubeCon. Last week, though, this week, anyway, they just, due to this virus outbreak thing, they changed the OpenShift Commons edition to a virtual event, meaning that there are no physical locations anymore. We're working to find an alternative. So yeah, this is just a heads up, status update on this face-to-face meeting. Assuming that KubeCon finally happens, which so far, as far as we know, it's still happening. We still need to find a place where we can have this face-to-face gathering.
Remember to wash your hands often and don't shake hands.
Yes, I just did it after the meeting, just in case.
Yes. Well, could you refresh my memory when KubeCon EU is? I ask every time, I know. I apologize.
30th of March, end of this month, last week of March, first of April.
So soonish.
Yes, in 3 weeks and right.
Okay. And without any further questions on that, the next note, I just added a point about release 0.26.2. This is on the 26 stable branch. However, we're having trouble with Travis. It's just a transient networking error. Still working through that. I just need to rebuild a few times. But once that's done, we will have the build artifacts attached to GitHub and can actually do an official release. But it is tagged in the repo. So we're somewhere between 26.1 and 26.2 right now. And as far as the changes, it's basically stability and bug fixes, nothing earth-shattering. So any questions on that?
No, just a remark on a similar side. We're also planning to do release a little bit late. We need to forgot about it. 0.27, which I tagged the first release candidate, and if all goes well and nobody's screaming here, then it might become the release for this month in a few hours, or tomorrow, or on Thursday, unless somebody.
Could I petition to have it on Monday, just for personal selfish reasons?
Yeah, we just missed the first Monday of the month. So if we do it on the next Monday, then we would actually violate our own release rule. Thus, we cannot do it on a Monday this month anymore.
Okay. Well, then we do it this week. Let's get it out.
We'll do.
I note that / question in the releases page, 0.26.1 appears flagged as a pre-release version. I don't know if this is expected or.
That is not expected. I will update the, what he's referring to is in the GitHub releases page, admins can see if releases are pre-release or if they're official releases. And we just didn't complete the process and hit the button. So apologies for that. We will clean up our repo and it will be showing up as the official latest release soon. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. Is there anything else that we'd like to raise at this point?
No, I think I can give a general update. So we here at Red Hat, we're looking to stabilize KubeVirt a little more. We're investing a little bit in stabilizing several ends. There's some work going on about IPv6 work. Petter is very happy about it. If we look at him, then we see how good it's going. We look a lot at stabilization these days. I think one of the things I would like to look at over the next weeks or months is to really lay out a roadmap here from the community point of view. What could be interesting items to look at in the future and to see somehow how we can bring this agenda into this forum. Because like we have individual contributors which are fixing their stuff and providing patches. Reddit is one of the largest ones, but we have other stakeholders, right? Who are contributing patches, and I would like to see that we make it more transparent who's working on what, who's interested in what. So I'll see if I can prepare something for the upcoming weeks or months to make these roadmaps a little bit more public.
And along those lines, I see a few new names in our chat today. So welcome everybody who's not been here before. Glad to have you.
Thank you. How's it going, folks?
Doing well.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to deploy KubeVirt inside the corp environment at Google. So we've been doing some deep dives into the code and trying to, from a security standpoint, harden things a little bit. Fabian's been talking to Eric Chang over on our side about some of this stuff also. We'll probably have some proposals for y'all to see as far as what we think are some improvements with additional layers of AppArmor, and what the stuff we're doing. So we have a kind of like our own hardened version of Chemu that is proving a little bit challenging to incorporate into the KubeVirt Kubernetes setup. So we'll have some stuff to talk to you guys about in the next few meetings.
Nice.
Fantastic. We really welcome that. We've been looking, security is something that's near and dear to us as well, and we've been looking very deeply at that lately. So really look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, our team has been, so the team that I work on is like a 10-year-old team at Google. The first generation of the team wrote the Gannett cluster manager, right? So for the past like 10 years, we've been running a whole bunch of workstation and server workloads inside like the corp environment, as opposed to like the big Google production environment, and then as opposed to cloud, right? So we've kind of like moved our like engineer workstation workloads to the cloud, but we still have a bunch of like third-party stuff that we have to run that we can't put on in production, and that stuff is here to stay. So we're looking to move off of Gannett and the Python 2 to 3 conversion stuff kind of pushed us over the edge there to start looking for other stuff. So KubeVirt seemed to be the place to be as far as modernizing the virtual machine.
No question it is, no question.
You're a little bit biased, but I get it.
Yeah, somewhat biased. No, that's interesting. I think, I mean, the benefit here is that you're really falling to the use case of KubeVirt, right? So we're also focusing on enabling legacy workloads, which sometimes have odd requirements on the underlying VM ABI. But I would actually take a step back because about the security things, we've been looking at that recently. And I think, I mean, Eric pointed that out, right? That we have like odd RBAC rules with granted too many permissions. And I mean, we progress on that side, and Vladik and Jet, which are around here, they're looking currently at containing the launcher a little bit more, so where Qum is running, and especially looking at the SLNox side. But it sounds like you're more interested in AppArmor instead of SLNox.
Yeah, so we already have a bunch of experience hardening virtual machines with AppArmor. And we've kind of, a few years back, we forked Chemu. We like completely stripped it down, right? And it saved us a lot of time in the long run. And one of the, like, between the stripped down Chemu, the lockdown AppArmor profiles, and doing things like, you know, running every single instance as its own user, that type of stuff. We saved ourselves a lot of time in we could ignore the vast majority of Chemu vulnerabilities, and it just it saved us a lot in the long run to do that work. And we'd like to kind of like take that stuff that's already like that, you know, our SecOps folks are already happy with, right? And kind of like, okay, we're introducing all this new infrastructure, you know, they're worried about it. We're kind of a big target, right? So they worry about these, you know, the third-party stuff that we're running. So part of convincing them that, you know, that deploying KubeVirt was a good idea was kind of like, okay, we have this security model that we know you like already, right? We'll kind of like move this to the new stuff, right? That way everybody's happy. So AppArmor was part of it. It's not that they couldn't be convinced to do something different. It was just we already knew that they liked our former setup. So it was much easier from a development and political standpoint to kind of like push this along so we can get the green light on developing this stuff. So we're in the process now of kind of figuring out the right way to deploy this and integrating it with our like instance and node lifecycle management. So yeah, so we're in the thick of it right now. We think we'll probably have about 3,000 virtual machines running by the end of the year on it. So it's not a tiny deployment. It's not huge, but it's good.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, and for sure something to continue on, because I'll be interested, or I think more here will be interested to hear, but you know, your insights about the security status of the launcher. I mean, Aimer will be good to contain possibly QEMU, but there's more. And I mean, we especially here at Reddit currently wonder about, you know, how can we contain the launcher in general more? So getting some additional thoughts from your side will be helpful there. Nice. Are you running it? Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, you go.
No, just a question. Are you running Kubernetes then on bare metal?
Yes.
I guess you are. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Nice.
Just a side note, we actually have an open pull request from NVIDIA that is adding support to specify AppArmor profile for the launcher pod. Just a side note, and we will really appreciate more eyes on this PR because we have.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. We're going to be doing something similar over here.
All right, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool.
That's very exciting. I really look forward to seeing how that plays out. All right, and with that, if that topic is done being discussed, is there anything else that anybody would like to raise today? All right, thank you so much. See you next meeting. Oh, one more note. I'm sorry. Next week, U.S. time zones have switched, and so there's going to be a little confusion on timing. So it'll be 11 a.m. Eastern time, but still 4 p.m. CET. So see you then.
Yeah.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.